Karen began her athletic endeavor at Francis Howell High School. She excelled in volleyball, track, and basketball. In 1979, she set the Missouri State high jump record, and 38 years later still holds the Gateway Athletic Conference record. She continued her volleyball career at national power Florissant Valley and Florida International University, where she was named an All-American. When it comes to impacting the lives of high school girls, Coach Davis has a track record like no other. In 21 seasons at the helm of St. Joseph's Academy, she registered over 600 wins, 8 state championships, and an amazing 816 winning percentage. Many of her players earned All-American honors and college scholarships, and the GPA of all her teams never dipped below a 3.5. Karen has received many accolades for her outstanding coaching ability, including induction into the Missouri Volleyball Coaches Hall of Fame. And in 2016, she became the first Missouri high school coach to be inducted into the American Volleyball Coaches Hall of Fame. As influential as she was to her players, she has unselfishly given her time to help fellow coaches. Many coaches around the nation love to pick her brain on the ins and outs of the game and of volleyball. Said former player and now varsity coach Katie Kiefer Richardson, Karen's devotion and leadership is extraordinary. She has made excellence a way of life for the program, her athletes, and herself.
Please welcome Karen Davis in the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Eight state championships, 16 Final Fours. You did a lot of winning. And you know, it's funny too, Karen, because it's not like that you could carry over one group of girls through all those. I mean, you had turnover. Talk about the message that you had for all those years, for all that success.
The message is my players. Shout out real quick to my peeps over at table 11 and 30, my family and my St. Joe family. Thank you for coming. The message, and it's a St. Joe message, and it's a St. Joe volleyball program message, would be good people, good academics, good skills, in that order.
Tell me about your love for the game. What is it about volleyball that you love?
It's so exciting, and no point is ever the same. You have that net barrier, so you can't physically go after the person, so you do have to have the skills. You have to have the skills on your side of the court.
Of course, you've had some great players, and talk about the motivation. I mean, you've had talented players, but there's also, in coaching, you know, the ability to get something out of a kid that maybe they didn't have. Why was that skill so special for you?
Just pushing the kids is exciting. You watch them come in. They're good athletes, but maybe not good volleyball players yet. And that's what's most exciting for me, is turning them into not only athletes, but, well, they're athletes already, but good volleyball players. I think one of my strengths was the skills, teaching the skills of the game of volleyball.
I know you guys had so much success. Was there a point where there was maybe some pressure where it's like, okay, here comes St. Joe's? Were you always looking in the eyes of the other team saying, if we could knock them off, that makes our year? How much did you have to constantly keep your team on their toes, you know, to avoid the big loss?
It was easy. The girls wanted to win. Once you instilled that winning philosophy in them, they wanted to win. The pressure for me was when I would go back in the gym, going to a state championship, and you'd come back with a fourth or a second place. You're like, oh yeah, that's great. But you'd walk into the gym and you'd have legendary coach Maury McVeigh and Julie Matheny, and they'd have the big L on the forehead, and the gym like, oh my God, we just got second. But here they are with the big L. So the pressure, I think, was more amongst us coaches than it was coach to player or player to player.
Yeah. There was a point where you took 7 years off. You were the assistant principal at St. Joseph's. Tell me about that break. Was there a point maybe you recharged your battery a little bit, or did you say, hey, you know what, maybe this is good to step away for a minute?
It was good to step away, but it was exactly what you said, a recharging of the battery. And then after that, we were good to go for a few more years.
Okay. So you won 6. You came back and won 2, but to have that time off, was there something that you learned over that time? I mean, you're talking about 7 years, so that's that's a good amount of time. Maybe kids change. Did you notice something maybe different about the game, or maybe something different about the kids?
Absolutely. It went from the game of volleyball to the game of ping pong, because it used to be you had to serve to get a point, and now it's every time the ball goes into the net, the other team gets a point. So the game did change a lot, so it was a whole new learning process.
Yeah. It's funny, when we just saw the video, your credo was academics, and obviously with the winning, but you had 3.50 grade point average. That was the average of your teams over that time. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. How did that come about?
I think it's instilled in you at St. Joe. Expectations are high, and once again, all of the teams, and these coaches will attest, we compete for the highest grade point average, not only the best season, but the highest grade point average. And it's important that academics comes first.
How much competition did you have within that team? With the young ladies themselves, trying to push each other to make each other better?
There's a lot. There's a lot. Absolutely.
And finally, when you look at the game now, how much do you just kind of sit back and watch some of the young ladies maybe come back? You saw the ladies win, now they come back. Do you have a good relationship when they come back and see you?
Absolutely. Some girls are at the table. They're from the team from the 80s, team from the 90s, and then very proud of my former assistant and former player, Katie Richardson, who's taken over the program, and I think there's a state championship on the way. Katie, no pressure there.
But Karen, we want to just congratulate you. What an incredible, legendary career you had. Welcome to the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
You better believe it.